Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something clicked.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
And it feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and you...
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Have something in mind to talk about today, or would you like to revisit some of last conversation, or what's up?
I think we should revisit. Well, I would like to revisit kind of our last conversation that we had.
Sure.
Because I feel like it's been, since we've talked about it, I feel like I've been more hyper aware of that feeling. Kind of that jealousy feeling. It's kind of came back. But I feel like it's came back a lot stronger than before. I guess now that I'm just super aware of it, it just feels a lot more heavier.
Okay. So last time we talked about the jealousy, we talked about looks and feeling like no matter what you do, won't be able to, look a certain way, and just being dissatisfied with looks. And then...
Yes.
And then I'm wondering, having trouble remembering what type of resolution we did get to, and...
Just checking in. We said that I would check in with that part and ask how it's doing.
Yeah.
I guess the heart part that feels that way. And I did that. I think I did that maybe 3 times after we spoke. 3 times. And it seemed like it was doing okay, but this week was just kind of I don't know. I think it seemed to bother me a lot more this week. And I don't know if it's because aware of it or not, I don't know if that's the reasoning for it.
Yeah, those are good questions. And yeah, I mean, ideally you're feeling better, not worse about something. So it sounds like it should be something to re-investigate and learn more about. Every part has a purpose. It has an intention, and these intentions are good. And if we can just get the information, get to know the part, and maybe learn more about what it is protecting. Maybe there's some other protectors in there that have more to say about it. Hopefully, with that info, you can make make decisions about what to do next and feel more at peace with it. That's the idea, at least.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing. I don't know if it's like relevant to the conversation, but I think that being in a relationship as well has triggered this. Like us, really. I just got into a relationship about 4 months ago now, as of today. And I feel like because now I've been hyper aware of it, I've been trying to really find like when it's really been like throughout my day, these thoughts, because I used to think in general, I used to always feel this way, but I wouldn't go like torture myself, like day by day with them, like intrusive thoughts, I guess you would say. But since I've gotten into a relationship, it's more frequent now.
Okay.
So that's just something that I've noticed.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's, we can make that our target part, the part that we'll try to get to know.
Okay, but I don't want anyone to know that I'm talking on this podcast. I'm somewhat embarrassed to admit that.
You don't want anyone to know that you're talking what?
Oh, no, I'm just saying I'm not going to let anyone listen to this. I told some of my friends I was, talking kind of on a podcast, but now that I'm addressing real issues, I'm kind of embarrassed by them. But I think this would help other people. It would be beneficial for other people.
Yeah, and well, let's talk about that for a moment, because we don't want to push past any concerns. So, that's a valid concern, and we can talk about ways to address that. One is just by not using names. And so I'm pretty sure, and I'll double check. Of course, I haven't published anything, but I'm pretty sure that in our last talk, when I said hello, I said your name, but I don't think it came up in the conversation that would be.
I think definitely didn't. It definitely didn't. I don't.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any other ways that we can just protect that. And I mean, I know it would, heck, I get nervous being on this side of the call, so it's hard, but just let that embarrassed part know that you get it, that you feel its vibes, and that we're looking out for ways to minimize the ability for you to get called out by anybody in real life, or for anybody to figure out who you are. So we'll both be really mindful of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It puts me at ease just a little bit, but I mean, honestly, I don't really care if people listen and they know who I am, but it's more so like, it's just embarrassing for me to admit that I have like severe jealousy and insecurity like issues.
Yeah.
Private. I'm a private person when it comes to like my own problems and my own issues. But yeah, I'm ready to get to know this part a little bit more.
Okay. Another thing we can do is just think about, again, like I haven't published a single call, and I've done more than 10. And let's just assume that this won't be published. Let's assume it's just you and me talking. And, I'll only, if you decide at the end, oh, hey, we should publish this, then we will. But we can just kind of imagine that the default is that we won't, rather than the default being that we will.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps.
That's fine. I mean, I'm fine with it being, I want it to be published because I just know it's going to help other people who also think like me, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really helpful for people who deal with like severe insecurity issues.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about this. Also, from our last meeting till now, I already had this appointment scheduled, but I went to see a psychiatrist. And psychiatrists didn't do anything like helpful for me. They literally spoke to me for 20 minutes. And then after I told them I had substance abuse problem, then they prescribed antidepressants, like just within 20 minutes. And my point is that my conversation with you was a lot more better than actually seeing like a psychiatrist. I mean, they did not do anything. So I just thought I'd point that out there, that you're also helping me.
Well, that's really great to hear. And yeah, you never know what you're going to get with the professionals. That's one thing I'm not. So yeah, and that's feel free to tell me I'm doing something wrong or push back. It's something I like about being an amateur is I'm a student of this, so you can take charge or direct me or give me any type of feedback. We're going to be looking at this part. Tell me again, where in or around your body does this sensation come up?
My chest area, my heart.
Yeah. What's it like?
Now I want to say it's still in heavy like the first time around, but this time it feels a little bit more lighter.
Okay.
Not as heavy.
Yeah. And when you're I'm trying to think how to say, when it's at its peak, is it just more of this heaviness, or are there other sensations going on with it?
When peak, it's like anger and frustration, and like that. Those are the emotions that happen first. I want to say with like it's that high feeling,
Yeah.
but then it just goes like sadness, like just a different type of sadness. It's like my heart feels like it's broken.
Oh.
It's just like a serious sadness when when you ask for peak, like I guess I would say like triggers,
Yeah.
things that would kind of trigger that feeling. It's like immediate anger, but then quickly followed by like sadness. Like it's just like despair. I can't explain the type of sadness that is, but if I ponder in that feeling for too long, the sadness, I'll end up crying. So it will trigger those types of like emotions. But right now, like when I do, it just feels like just heavy.
Yeah. Okay. You were talking about a broken heart feeling, real heavy sadness. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what. Well, those are like the triggers of it. So I would say throughout the week or throughout my day, something would trigger me. Seeing someone else or just seeing something in general, it's just an absolute trigger. And it just, from that point on, that sadness can turn into like a crying episode. If I don't want to use the word suppress it, but I guess that's the best word to kind of describe the situation, is I guess I probably would suppress it because I don't want to like cry or have a mental breakdown over, something that I saw online or like in a movie.
Yeah. And what's the suppressing feeling? What does that feel like? Does that have a different place in the body?
Yeah, I want to say it's my, I have to really think about it. It feels like it's more of my head kind of just being like, okay, we have to not think about it now or just relax. Like I just have to try my best to not let it get to me crying because it's such a sadness. I can't explain it. It's like I've had near-death situations with family members which feel like a different type of sadness, but this sadness is like at the heart. It feels like my heart's being like crushed, like the chest area where the feeling is. It just feels like it's being crushed. So
okay. And at the moment, does that suppressing feeling, is that coming up strong for you now, or is that giving us some space to look?
No. That's not coming up now, I guess, because I'm addressing the situation right now and nothing has triggered me. Like nothing has been sort of that trigger, because the only way that I can get to that feeling is through a trigger.
Yeah.
Like that, like the heaviness is like amplified. But as of right now, it just feels heavy. I'm still putting it, I'm still separating myself from it, but I can still see that it's heavy and there's no need for that suppressor to like come in.
Okay, good. Now, can you see it in the room with you? Is there a way that you can kind of imagine turning towards it and seeing this as a part, seeing this as even a being that isn't you, it's a part of you, like your foot is a part of you?
Like seeing it, like okay, as like let me see if I could do that.
Yeah.
I could separate it entirely. Okay, yeah, I've done that now.
Okay.
I put it into, but I don't know, my brain put it into like a child, like a smaller me.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, because I think when we're dealing with a part like this, it probably is one of those exile parts. It probably is one of those child parts. So that would make perfect sense. So just continue, kind of looking and looking for definition of that child and what it looks like, and just see, like think about how close are you to it in the room, or is it facing you, or what's it doing, or any other description you can see.
It's really funny that you said that, because she's like hiding behind me.
Yeah. Okay.
But she's not far. She's really close. Like I want to say that she's almost touching me.
Yeah.
But she's like hugging me. I think she's like, it feels like it's looking for some sort of approval from me.
Yeah.
That's what, it's just really interesting that you said that though, because she's super close to me. It's like, it would be like as if she were like hugging me, like attached to me kind of.
Yeah.
But it's like me, but as like, it's like way smaller.
Yeah.
And I've put this feeling as a shadow. But I know it's me, like as a kid.
Okay.
That's definitely what I would put it as.
So if it's behind you, can you turn towards it? Can you just, and maybe it doesn't want that, and that's fine. We don't want to chase it off, but just anything you can do to kind of let it know that that at least metaphorically, your back isn't turned to it. That right now,
Okay.
Right now you want to get to know it and understand it better.
As soon as I did that, as soon as I like could envision me like turning around, it got a little bit lighter on my chest, like where the feeling is.
Okay, good. So how would you say that you feel towards this part?
I feel I don't know. It just feels a lot lighter now. Yeah, it feels a lot lighter. I can't really put this into words, but I kind of see it at a different angle from than what we did last time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't put it into an actual, last time that we spoke, I separated it as a feeling,
yeah,
but I didn't put it into like a sort of a being.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I feel like that I've personified it, it's kind of easier for me to understand what she's actually looking for.
Yeah. And so, again, what is your reaction to that? To like, how do you feel about that? That ability to communicate better with her?
It makes me feel like that I should actually actively work on fixing this part because for her,
Yeah.
because she's really sad. I mean, she's really like looking for something, and she's looking for some sort of approval, and I have not given her any of that.
Okay. So it sounds to me like there's a part of you that is hesitant to give that approval, or hesitant to work with this part. And if that part is in the room with you, just see if you can ask it for some space. The part that might have withheld some approval, and just see if you can continue kind of accessing this younger part.
Would it make sense for me to say like that part is like my ego, the part that's hesitant to fix it? It feels like it's kind of like at my core to just like not fix it. It just kind of feels like it's such a big part of me. It's super difficult for me to try to separate that from me because it feels like that's my head.
Yes, good. So that's useful information. I think I would caution you against trying to explain or create the explanation or tell the story about what the different parts are, and for you to keep your role as getting to know this part. And so again, the part of you that is in the head and isn't interested in fixing it, that's a separate part, I would say. And that's the part that we're asking for some space from. And if it doesn't want to give us space, that's fine. We can talk to that part.
Okay. Yeah, I think I could separate it. I am curious to know more about the part that's the younger me, I guess.
Yeah. Good. We need that curiosity. So were you able to get some space from this part in the head that says, this isn't worth fixing right now, or we don't want to give attention to this?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've separated myself from that.
Okay. So ask this younger part if she feels like you get it, if she feels like you understand her.
No. Okay. Yeah, she's saying like, no, like you don't understand like really what this is. And to be honest, yeah, I kind of don't know.
Right, okay. So she has something to show you. She has her story and her experience to communicate to you. And
yeah.
If you're ready to hear it, then you can just ask her, what is it that she wants you to know? And what does she want to show you?
Well, she is showing me like bits and pieces sort of like how I grew up.
Yeah.
My dad was pretty, I want to say verbally abusive towards me.
Yes.
And so I am getting a few episodes
Yes.
of that,
Okay.
of like being really scared.
Yeah.
So she's still scared of this, even though like I'm far from my dad.
Absolutely.
I don't live with him anymore. I am seeing him today though.
Okay.
But now, him and I have a better relationship, a way better one that we do now than I did before.
Yeah. So
But when I was a kid,
it was scary, right?
yeah, it was super scary. And that's where she's trying to tell me. It feels like she's trying to tell me that she's even afraid to really even come to me about it.
Yeah.
Like she's so afraid.
Does that make sense?
But she's giving me bits and pieces of just kind of like the abuse, I guess.
Yeah. So this is part of the process, and this is obviously some of that deeper work. And so, again, you don't have to share anything with me. And if you want to put the brakes on the conversation anytime, feel free.
Okay.
But the process here is to continue, asking her to show you and to witness what it is that she experienced. And again, without explaining it away, without evaluating, your present, relationship with your father, any of that stuff, but just to witness what it is that she has to show you, and to think about, does that make sense to you? Does it make sense to you that she feels that way?
Okay. I have to
Take your time.
Yeah. It's a lot of alone, like downtime. She's showing me bits and pieces of, well, now she's showing me, because I don't want to say they're more of like actual like memories that I forgot were kind of there.
Yeah.
There was a time, I'm okay with sharing this. There was a time where my dad would constantly threaten me. Like he would so basically we lived with his mom, my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was at school, so she was pretty far from me, and I was alone with him majority of the time. And I want to say this exact thing probably happened when I was 6. And he threw a suitcase at me and forced me to pack everything. And I remember and it's like very vivid right now, just the tears. And then he closed the door, and like, that's where that feeling is. It's like, he let me kind of pack my stuff on my own for the half of it, besides he was screaming at me and screaming at everyone else in the house, causing a really big scene. And I just remember packing and just tears. And, but when he closed the door, that's like where she is still. Yeah. Like it feels like she's still there. Like she's still in that moment where she doesn't know what's going to happen next. And I guess it feels like a fear of abandonment. Like, and so my dad did this frequently though. Yes. But I've never really remembered it until now. Okay.
So let's just stay with it for another moment. I know it's uncomfortable, but that is terrifying, right? That's scary.
Yeah, the feeling of just not knowing what was going to happen to me or where it was going to live. And it happened too frequently. It felt like, that's just me analyzing. But back to her, because I know we're just focusing on her. She's still stuck there. It feels like she doesn't know what's next. She's really scared.
We're going to work on that. I'll let you know what's next when working with her. And you just stay with her and just witness what she's trying to show you. And she wants to know if you understand that it's scary. She wants to know that you understand how hard it was. And can you show her that? Can you show her
Yeah.
that? Show her some compassion and some sympathy.
Sorry, it's a little bit, now the tears are just coming down because I didn't remember this until now.
Just take your time. And how are you feeling towards her now?
I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling like I want to give her space to feel this way.
Okay.
And not keep, letting her feel this way. I feel like she should not be scared.
Okay, well, that's an opinion. She's showing you something very scary. And so in that moment where she should be scared, right? It is scary. And you just said about giving her space, but she's clinging to you, and she's asking and looking to be able to show you what was going on to her and how isolating it was. So I don't know that she's asking for space.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think she's asking for attention, or not attention, but she wants the floor.
Yeah, now's her time.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. I guess you're right.
She wants what we all
it's
want.
It's easier for me to push her away, but she doesn't. She wants the floor. I guess she wants to show me more.
Yeah. If she wants to show you more, then, if you're okay with it, I would say let her show you more.
Okay. Yeah, let me see. This doesn't make sense to me, but I will share it.
Okay.
Maybe you might understand it. But now she's showing me when, I don't even remember doing this, but apparently I took one of my cousin's shoes, like I tried to steal them from her, even though we lived in the same house, and it completely failed. I had to give the shoes back, but I never got caught. It was just, obviously my cousin wasn't going to leave the house without her one pair of shoes, but I wanted them, so I took them anyways. And I don't know why she's showing me this in particular, but it's like I had to give it back.
Well, so you did get caught.
No, I didn't get caught, but it was to a point where she was really looking for them, and she wasn't going to leave without them. So I had to put them in another place.
Okay.
And then she found them again. And this was still around the same time I was living in this house where my dad was very verbally abusive to everyone.
Yeah. I'm going to try not to do analyzing myself, but it sounds like, if I saw a child doing that, the child was either being playful or just acting as children do. They take the things they want, and then had some real fear around what the consequences of that would be. And some legitimate fear.
That's where it's more of like, you're definitely right with that one. It was the feeling of returning it that's really popping in more. It's that like, kind of that I did that, and then I had to return it again. And now I'm remembering smells of the house that I used to live in, which is, super weird. But And now she's like giving me smells. I could still feel some things, like the carpet that we used to have, the type of carpet that it was. But no, you see, I just usually have good memories from my past that I like to,
Right.
think about. But she's showing me just how bad it was.
Yeah, that's what she's been holding on to, and that's part of what. Yeah, that's part of what you've been turning away from, which makes sense. It makes sense to do that. It's not comfortable to think about. But don't worry, we have other ways that we can work with this and work with her. So this isn't the entire process here. It's just thinking about, painful memories. So is there more she wants to show you? Ask her if she feels like you get it.
I'm telling her I know how she feels, but she's telling me that I don't.
Okay. Well, again, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do in this conversation, but she has more to show you. And it's important in this process that you understand what she went through, because again, where you are now isn't, where you have become is in a way of turning away from that, which again makes sense. But in order to heal it, we've got to witness it. And so she needs to know that you know that you get it, and that you see what she had to see. And some of those things, she didn't understand those feelings at the time. And so she's sharing them with you. And again, we don't want to try to overanalyze, but you're going to have the ability to deal with those feelings and to see the bigger picture and work with them better. But you have to see whatever she wants to show you in order to do that. And that's up to you.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So just ask her if you can, just ask her what else she has to show you.
Wow. I do remember this one.
I was before you start, you don't have to share any of this with me, and it might not even be helpful that you do. And again, I'm completely willing to hear it. I have time. I'm curious, but if she has 100 things to show you, it might be best to just have that time with her, and to not, bother translating it all.
Okay.
But I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, she's still going back to this one. I'm trying to see, but I think she really wants to floor on this one. So I'm okay with sharing this
Sure.
this one.
Sure.
I think
She might also be
yeah.
kind of testing the waters where maybe there's something super painful and she's showing layers to see where you're willing to go with her. So
Yeah, well, I feel like this is unlocking more of like a why she's really scared. One time, I don't remember how old I was, but my dad used to have like friends who were like drug addicts, and they would come in and out of the house all the time. And she's showing me directly like they would be in my room, and they would hide things in my drawers, like they would hide drugs in my drawers, and I would find them when I would get dressed. So, but I feel like there's something else here. She's trying to show me something else. Oh. That just smells super weird. There's a block. I can't get past it. And she can't show me yet. I don't know. She's not willing to show me. Yeah. Not that she's not willing, but there's something blocked. But something about the act of finding those drugs in my drawers, like where I would, get dressed by myself, feels like there's something off about that.
I mean,
there's something way more to that.
It's pretty terrifying. I mean, these things that she does, either she doesn't know what they are and that's scary, or she does know what they are and that's scary. There's strange.
Yeah, there's a block. It's insane. I didn't know I had such a block, but it's just not letting me access anything anymore. I feel like now she's like, it's like a terrified feeling.
Yeah.
And the moment in particular is looking at like where my underwear was when I was a kid in that drawer. That's where all the drugs were. They were under it. I remember touching them and feeling like weird about it. Like I didn't know why they were in this drawer in particular.
Yeah.
And I remember not wearing like any clothes, and this is when I was a child, so I was completely vulnerable. So this feeling is being linked. Like that's what I'm getting right now.
Yeah.
But it's just immense, like just totally terrifying. And yeah, I can't get past that. Like that's all she could show me. Like I guess right now.
Just thank her for everything that she's shown you. Show her some compassion, please, because really, no child deserves any of that. It's all scary. And that doesn't mean telling her you understand. It means showing her, holding out your hand to her. Any other expression of compassion and just care.
Yeah. Okay. I did that. I feel like I wrapped her like in a nice like hug.
There we go.
It feels a lot better.
Yes. How does she feel about being in the hug with you?
So much better.
Okay.
Like it's just mutual. It's like even it's being lifted, like just the heaviness is being lifted.
Yeah. Just stay there.
It feels so much better.
Yeah.
It just feels so much better.
Let her know that she can stay with you now. That she can stay in the hug with you now, or that she can be somewhere else if she wants, or if she's ready.
No, she wants to stay. Yeah, definitely wants to stay in this hug.
Okay.
It's starting to feel good. Like first it was like the burden was being lifted, but now it feels so much better now.
Yeah. Ask her if there's anything. Again, you can say no to this, but there's a process in which you imagine yourself, you go back in time at your current age, and you go back and you be the person that she needed then.
Mm-hmm.
And, it doesn't mean that you have to rewrite everything, but I'm sure there were times back in those times when she could have just used a hug.
Okay, yeah, I can.
So see if you can just go back there with her.
Yeah, that feels even better. Hugging her in certain flashbacks.
Yeah.
Feels a lot better.
Yeah. And you might just ask her, what else can you do for her back then? Because, well, you can do anything. You can do anything. Because you're not a child anymore. You're not actually in that past. And so in this recollection of it, in this experience of it, you can do anything. So she might like to see you do something else. Just ask her.
I don't know if this is what you are implying, but she's like, now we're in a pillow fight. I don't know if that's what you're, like a playful one.
Yeah, if that's what she wants.
Yeah.
Go for it. So yeah, I mean, yeah. She wants to have some fun with you. She sounds like a fun kid.
Yeah, playful. She wants to like run around, and I'm letting it happen. I'm letting it run its course. It feels so much better than before.
Yeah. Let her know that she can come to your time and that she actually doesn't have to stay in those places. And in fact, you can take her anywhere. You can take her to any fantasy place she wants to go. You can show her some options. Where does she want a pillow fight? Where does she really want to run? If she could go anywhere.
If she can go anywhere, she can go to Jupiter, because that's always been my favorite planet.
All right. Go ahead and take her there and just see what happens. And if she gets bored with that or decides she'd rather be somewhere else, that's fine. Show her around.
Now she's looking forward to work later today.
Yeah.
She wants to go to work with me.
Okay. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll totally go to work and think about this. This sounds like something she really wants to do.
She wants to be with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let her know that she can do that. and that she doesn't have to stay stuck back there.
She feels like relieved. It's like this huge burden kind of has been like lifted from her on her end. It's like she's been wanting this. I guess she's been wanting me to give her the place to speak and to show me.
Yeah. That's what we all want, to be acknowledged and held.
Yeah.
So you said
she feels a lot better.
Yeah, so was she carrying those feelings in her body? When she feels unburdened, where does that come from in her body?
Her back.
Okay.
Weird, but her back, her shoulders, and her neck.
Yeah. So yeah, ask her if she's ready to really let all of that go, all of that burden and tension and heaviness from her back and shoulders and neck. If she's ready to let all of it go. And then just see if you can help her do that. Maybe she needs to dance it off. Maybe she needs to punch it off. Maybe she needs to pillow fight it off.
She needs me to rub it off.
Okay. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Will you?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. Until it's all gone.
Wow. Wow, that feels a lot better. For me, we exchanged a few words right now, and she like hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Like she felt so much better. And I told her that it doesn't matter now from here on out. Like, I'm going to be here with you. We have each other.
Yeah.
And so she felt so much better. So that she kind of hugged me in the front. Like, I went through her back and her neck and her shoulders. And I told her that, and then she hugged me in the front. And she kind of nuzzled her I guess her being like in my neck.
Yeah.
And like kind of just went back to my heart, and now my heart feels really good.
Yeah, she's not behind you anymore.
Yeah, no, she didn't. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, she's not behind me anymore. She went in the front.
Yeah. Yeah, just let her know she can stay there as long as she wants. She can change. And if you're willing, I would say let her know that you will check on her every day for a few weeks if you can. And that just means it just means, hey, how you doing? I still see you. Do you have more you want to say? Do you want to go work with me again today? That kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. She feels so much better, but she's like melted into like my chest. It's like ooey gooey. Feels really nice. Sort of like the feeling that we were talking about in the beginning is not the same as it is like at the moment.
Yeah. And now might be a good time to, there were other parts. There's the part that wants to turn away from her. There's the part that might not feel like they have time or wants to suppress this. There's the part that might be embarrassed about this. And it might be a good time now to just bring those other parts in and let them see the work that you've done, and let them see how this part has transformed and what that means about what they have to do. They might not have to work so hard if this part's feeling better.
Yeah, that's exactly how they're feeling. Sort of like I'll step away. They're like, those feelings are like, we should step away from when I need to address certain situations with this part. They do need to give me that space.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not going anywhere, but
Sure.
like, they're not telling me that they're good, but they're saying that they're stepping back.
They have important jobs too. So yeah, you can have this, a better relationship with all of them, but you are the leader. And if you need to make time for this scared child part, then you do that.
Yeah, this feels a lot better. They're just continuing to just step away. They're still like in the act of like physically like stepping away, like moving back.
Yeah.
And
they might need
and
to
they feel like they understand.
They might need to find other roles. A lot of when you change parts of the system, then some people are kind of out of a job, and you have to kind of take your time and say, okay, well, what else would you like to do? And that would be, a different conversation, but it's just being aware that they're all interacting, and you did something huge with a powerful part today. So
yeah.
So just listen out if there's any big, concerns coming from any other parts.
No, there's really none. It feels so much better now. And she feels more like at ease, and I feel way better. I personally feel like I'm more at ease. And now, as crazy as it sounds, but I'm going to go to work and think about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about her for sure.
That's great.
And I am going to give her the time that she needs. I think she needs just a lot more time than what I've ever given to her. I've never given her the floor or anything, or I've always suppressed,
Yeah.
I guess it's the inner child. I've just always suppressed those types of feelings, but
Yeah.
Now I'm ready to just let her be, because I think it'll make me a lot happier.
Yeah. Yeah, life's better when those parts aren't tugging at our backs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This feels so much better.
That's great. I don't have any more questions or direction. You can stay with it, stay with her, or you can kind of come out, let me know anything else you want to let me know, or we can end the call, however you'd like to do next.
No, I feel pretty good right now. I want to just thank you.
Thank you.
I guess thank you for helping me address this situation. There were things that I didn't remember until now. So thank you for that. This was super helpful. Again, the last time we spoke was also very helpful, but this was a lot more in depth. This felt more, this really helped me.
Yeah, it's powerful. And thank you so much for just letting me and showing me, and thanks to all your parts. And I hope that you're thanking all of your parts for being willing to share and being willing to give you space when you ask for space. It's really amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I needed this. I actually feel a lot more awake than I did when we first started the phone call.
It's great.
I feel actually, as soon as we end this phone call, I'm probably going to go clean like I wanted to do, like I've been needing to do. I don't know. I feel
energized.
kind of motivated, I guess. Yeah, energized.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you have there's someone doing pillow fights in your heart, so try to get moving.
Thank you so much, James. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Zikri, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.